Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. So now we're starting chapter 16. Okay, we were in Hinterlands 3 for a while, weren't we? Yeah. The Minotaur found himself in dreams where he conversed with that kindly man. Asterion the Great, the finest host in all of mankind's history. Words far more sweet sounding than a lyre, a smile golder than gold. The master said it again, and this time the Minotaur found himself believing it. After all, was he not a good leader, a kind man, a worthy heir? The ancient words from the past forgotten, no one man, I think, who looks on the light of the sun, will ever have wisdom like this. He felt a warmth upon his ears, as if the sun crowned his head, and that light invited him to awake from slumber. His limbs felt feel melted, unmanageable, a bitter creature. But never had his bones been more rested, or his eyes far feeling. And today his hooves, once dull-minded critters, sounds like the chest-throbbing song of distant drums. Yes, we are truly back with the other Minotaur. Will we ever see Oscar of Astora again? I don't know. He rises and picks his clothes for the day. Boop. I don't know, I like that one. Extra casual. Actually, the blue looks nice. Oh, we gotta go with the fingerless leather gloves, right? Like, that's just okay. I mean, the blue shorts work a lot better than the red shorts with the black and orange tank, you know. Yeah. I mean, I kind of wish this looked a little better with the white fur, but we aren't there. So I think I'll keep it like this. He goes out, expecting his soft leading friend to already be up and brewing a fresh pot of coffee. But alas, it is Sunday, and dawn barely peeks over the horizon. The hotel is engulfed in a velvety silence, and the air carries the tiniest chill, just enough to make one's fur stand on end. This does nothing to reduce the Minotaur's spirit. His eyes feel different today, and if he can see see and appreciate every speck of dust in the room. Asterion finds himself inhabiting a world of rich texture where everything, even the smallest of details, has worth and substance. He looks outside to the road that leads travelers to the hotel, and time grows still as he appreciates the power of his eternity. He even entertains a small speck of vanity. For as long as humanity exists, this land will house and nurture its long-lost souls. Forever, because of Mr. Josh and masters like him, and surely his reign will be exceedingly long, followed by an heir just as worthy and kind. But that is a distant thought. It fades as the Minotaur busies himself with brewing coffee for when Mr. Josh wakes up. There is still much time, and exceeding amount of it, in fact. Asterion proceeds to do some minor chores around the apartment, and when none are left, he feels the old waterlust kicking in. He takes his lyre to the lounge with him, where he plays and prays and sings and tends to the fire of Hestia, daughter of lovely-haired Rhea. The fire danced along during the rite, but what is one to do once it's done? The Minotaur sits by the fire, alone, but not at all lonely. He looks out to the window to the garden and velvet sky, to all that overwhelming freedom outside. Freedom, galloping and wild, even in the confines of this prison realm. As much as this land can be engineered and contrived, he is free to do as he sees fit, and more than he's ever been in this long existence.
Dear flame, tender grace, fine-haired muse, what a fine lord rules over this labyrinth. So many came before who rained diamonds from their hands, yet Mr. Josh is the noblest by far. Open-hearted, he gives and grants, but only what is welcome and never in excess. Oh, Tithias, if only Lord Zeus.
He says no more, lest he commits blasphemy. He rises, a head filled with ideas about freedom, and heart jumping at the protest of taking something from him alone. Oh, what devious idea to wander without goal, to enjoy time wasted, doing nothing at all. He gets giddy at the idea, until another, a more enticing and selfish comes. To enjoy the solitude of the hotel's finest point. He wishes to see the world, all of it. Looking at the horizon from the hotel's roof, stummering his finely stringed lyre, the Minotaur allows his eyes and mind to wander. If there is the Cretan prince strains his ears, he can catch distant echoes of civilization. The shrill cries of cars, the roar of factories, the hum of crowds, the crashing waves, perfect thunder cutting skies in half. English sound to enough sound to dream about the world outside, of human cities and their inventions. But once one becomes used to those distant echoes, the rooftop provides unparalleled quietude, one so profound as to allow reminiscence about distant memories. The Minotaur strums his lyre as he thinks back to old times of freedom, although of another kind and of great fair men. He remembers the underground, as deep as the sun is high. The Cretan prince could not tell how long he waited in the courthouse of Hades. Among the newly deceased, a half-bull man such as him, raised no eyebrows, for its halls were populated by hybrids no less peculiar. And then he was called Asterion of Crete, and nothing else. Time rushed forward as if its latches came undone. He stood, but his knees did not crack. He walked, but his hooves made no sound. He rose to the defendant's podium, a hunk of polished stone before the judges, surrounded by 24 candles. Okay, let me erase that a bit. Okay. The flames flicker inches away from his face, but his eyes did not water from the smell of burning fat, nor was his fur singed. The prince's throat constricted around itself, and fire threatens to rise from his guts. His journey to the underworld was joyful, but the prospect of being judged brought a grief worse than that of his first death. Nevertheless, the hybrid's gait betrayed a noble upbringing. His were steeped wide, shoulders brimming with the strength of a master archer, and a chest of imposing as a great shield. As much as the candles lowered aloud, he bowed to the judges. The combined gaze was like a barrage of arrows cutting through the night, soundless until they exchanged whispers. The judges' tanned skin and Cretan complexities were all too familiar, but their eyes unsettled him, as dark as the sea is deep, but glimmering with traces of starlight. Stone-hardened faces, such as theirs, were hard to read, but their murmurs betrayed a measure of discomfort while assessing the Cretan prince. In this life, Asterion had grown well accustomed to reach reactions, but their tone had an edge he altogether failed to recognize, as if something else about him was the source of their discomfort, and not his bovine likeness. During his wait, Asterion had learned the names of the three judges. There were names. The first broke the silence. Pacife?
Young essay, do you recognize me? Speak now.
With an odd inquiry for the court of Hades, the prince stuttered his reply.
Your Excellency, I regret to inform you that I do not.
Asterion closed his eyes and shuddered, then scratched the bothersome ring around his neck.
Disgraceful.
The Minotaur's unbeating heart retched in his chest. His throat burned, the searing in his neck flared. His fingernails dug against the stone podium. And yet, as harrowing as the moment is, suspension was, a thought half pacified him. What else could have come to pass? This, too, would only be a temporary grief. Bear it, little star.
You again, with the wretched question. Was the firstborn's answer not enough? 'Twould be exceptional if he did, knowing what his father is like. Indeed, but I do not ask. Ah, pardon me, boy. My comment was not directed to you. It is your father's behavior which I meant to verify.
The confession should have pacified the prince's roiling gut, but mired in doubt as he was, it only raised more stomach-churning fire. He wished to ask, what is going on, and am I not here to be judged for my deeds? But he knew better than to interrupt a superior. He swallowed the knot growing in his throat.
It is tragic you know not of me, for I am your uncle. King Minos is and this guy's brother. Half-brother. And I, young man, am your father's namesake. As you can see, our lineage commands a great deal of respect among the halls of Hades.
This is what the guards meant when they talked about the Cretan lineage.
It is tragic we come to meet under these such circumstances. If only the fates had been kinder to us. Indeed.
The judges stared at the princess' horns. Their eyes were softer than any who had ever laid on the lad.
To your generation in particular.
Minos's mistakes continue to echo along the Styx.
My mistakes? Your Excellency, what are my...
Pardon me, Your Excellency. I meant the current king of Crete, your descendant, Minos.
Ah, of course. I should have known.
Now, Your Excellencies.
Asterion, we have dallied too long. Before we commence, know that our belief distraction should have no effect on your trial. Your familiar relation to us, however, might, if it is deemed that our judgment has been somehow compromised, then we shall appoint another body of judges. Are we understood, Asterion of Crete? Speak now. Yes, Your Excellency. I understand.
Let us commence, then.
Asterion of Crete, you stand trial in the court of Hades, wherein we shall judge your past life, and deliver your sentence. You shall speak only when commanded to, a lesson you seem familiar with, if your current demeanor so far as any indication. When you utter a word, you shall tell no lie. To the fullest extent of your capabilities, you will answer our questions with the most precise account your soul can muster. Do you understand? Yes, Your Excellency. Let us proceed then. We have been informed already of your life's rough trajectory through a variety of sources. The fact about your birth have been established by an independent and reliable source. Certain matters concerning you are of public knowledge, and those too have been assessed. I shall read the narrative constructed so far, and afterwards you will have the opportunity to correct any mistakes. Do you understand? Yes, Your Excellency. Please confirm the following. You are Asterion, a son of whatever, and, by adoption, king of Minos of Crete. Speak now. That is correct, Your Excellency. You were raised in the palace of Knossos, as the last-born prince of Crete. At an early age, you were initiated into the divine mysteries and learned secret rites. Most notable, you witnessed the mysteries of Lord Zeus, Lord Poseidon, and Lady Hestia. Is this the full truth? The account is correct, Your Excellency. Then prove it. Reveal to us the mysteries of Zeus.
The Minotaur's eyes flashed cold, and his mind became unclouded. No, the god's mysteries were absolute. The Olympians could not allow a court to request this information. This must be a test of his faith. Asterion understood.
I cannot and shall not reveal the mysteries, Your Excellencies. My oath to the Olympians stand above all else. Asterion of Crete, I did not ask you to show us, nor did I request an explanation. That was a command. I shall not obey.
Minnow couldn't hold back a smile. Meanwhile, the other guy chuckled.
You truly are a son of Minos. Disgraceful as his choices may have been, he succeeded in teaching you to fear and respect the gods. Your Excellency, please take note that the defendant refuses to reveal his rights. Let us proceed, Asterion of Crete. He was revealed that you were exiled to the Cretan labyrinth shortly after an incident at the palace. You were accused of cannibalism while you were indeed exiled. There was no conclusive findings on the veracity of the claim, and no formal sentence for that matter. Answer now, Asterion of Crete. Did you consume human flesh?
The Cretan prince's eyes were taken again by a bone-chilling lucidity. The once meek prince spoke without fear and doubt. Let me raise the volume just a little bit.
I did not, Your Excellency. In which case, you state here in our court that the accusation levied against you were untrue. You are not a cannibal. Confirm the claim, now.
Asterion drew a breath. He spoke with a voice as clear as Poseidon's in Earth's shaking.
Your Excellency, the accusations is not entirely untrue. Proceed, defendant. State your account. I did not consume human flesh, but bovine flesh was mixed into my rations without my knowledge. I was but a child then. My sister then informed my father, alleging that it was cannibalism by technicality. And that was the reason why you were exiled. I was told so, yes. I was not allowed into the throne room on the occasion. I did not watch my own trial.
The judges looked to each other, then leaned in to exchange whispers. The courtroom stood still, afraid of what could be so important as to compromise their protocols. Then they returned their gaze to the prince. Judge Minos' voice thundered across the court.
Asterion of Crete, are you aware that your father, King Minos of Crete, descends from Lord Zeus himself? It is contrary for the Cretan queen to bear a son from an Olympian. I am aware of that fact, yes. Are you informed of the details of your father's conception? I am afraid not, Your Excellency. I cannot recall being given this information. The Olympians take the shape of a bull. Your father, King Minos, is as much of a hybrid as you are. This young man is a long-standing tradition dating back to the very foundation of Crete. The king performs a sacrifice of his own blood, from which an aspect of an Olympian is summoned, always under the guise of a bull. The mortal of the divine mixed together, blood and ire. The queen.
Did I say this right? It's sure. Look, I'm half here today, guys. I'm half here. We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
The queen, then, is blessed with a special child.
No, Asterion did not know that, but it broke the hardness of his gaze. The prince could not stop himself from thinking back to his father, back when his horns started growing, the disgust in his eyes. Why? Is it, if it was true, then why was the father a human, and he a monstrosity? And yet another part of his mind was overtaken by warmth, as sudden as the lion's jaws. The judge had dark, starry eyes, bull eyes. I sat once upon your father's throne, boy, and I know for a fact that the Cretan royalty is no stranger to beef. Why would we raise so much cattle? Do not bother answering that question. It was rhetorical. You see, we have a grave contradiction here. If your father deemed you a cannibal for consuming beef, then he too would be one. We are left with only one few possibilities, Asterion of Crete. If you did not consume human flesh, then your father, King Minos, is damned. When his time comes, he shall be deemed the cannibal he accused you to be. If, however, you did take another man's flesh, your father is saved. You, in turn, shall face a most wretched fate. You are asking me to damn my father? Yes. The courtroom stood in awe as the hybrid prince shook away all doubts from his countess. Yeah. He let out a snort, ground a hoof on the floor, and let out another earth-shaking bellow.
Your Excellency, I cannot bear that yoke. Twice already you have asked me to perform an impossible and disgraceful task. I shall not curse my father, much like I did not reveal the mysteries of Lord Zeus. I shall stand by the truth. I was made aware of. I was tricked into consuming beef, and shortly thereafter was sent into exile. That I can swear upon. But beyond that, I cannot, I can only say the truth is greater. It is, not entirely him.
Not entirely him. It is not either him
Or I, who, must be damned. It is, neither. If, still you would insist on, extracting an account from me on the matter, then here it is, then here is what I state. My father, in his own words, never branded me a cannibal. That was all my sister's allegations. King Minos of Crete must have his reasons for my exile. The truth is elsewhere, Your Excellency.
Okay. For a son to perish before his father was deemed then a disgraceful tragedy. But if one were to hear the prince's words, that would be left with no doubt that his fate, regretful as it was, held no dishonor. The courtroom of Hades, the very stone it was carved from, shuddered in satisfaction. Judge Minos, meanwhile, chuckled.
By all accounts, you were described as meek, Asterion of Crete. We expected you to be a sniveling, undisciplined man-child. But it is clear you had a most noble upbringing. There may still be hope for your father, who raised 2 respectful sons. One can dream. He shall atone for his misdeeds against the gods before his time comes.
2, Asterion muttered. So he...
Let us proceed to the next topic. In your exile, you were tasked with maintaining a temple to Lady Hestia and protecting a sacred relic. Is this information correct? It is, Your Excellency. And that is where you met your end, correct? Indeed. Very well, now. Asterion of Crete. For the questions I am about to ask, I must reinforce the lesson you are acquainted with. That is to say, you shall not utter a single word more than what is strictly necessary to answer our inquiries. Are we understood?
The Cretan prince nodded.
Is the name Lomeldon familiar?
Asterion drew a breath. Hummingbirds pecked his skull, raising each strand of fur.
Yes. Did the one known as whatever enter the Cretan labyrinth? Yes.
He bit his cheek, hard enough to draw blood, and yet none came.
What is your relation with him? He was my guest.
His legs shook. From the blink of an eye, he felt rolling fire in his stomach, and the all-consuming heat was increased tenfold by the next question.
If you were to offer an account of the events surrounding his stay, would you say it was particularly trustworthy?
This would be the second death the prince knew. Again, he laid his neck on the basin and waited for the axe.
Yes. would you say that you failed your duty regarding the temple and its artifact? Yes. Very well. And then our internal assessment is correct. Asterion of Crete. Henceforth, all matters surrounding the individual known as Lomedon, shall be expunged from the records. You are hereby forbidden from divulging any and all information regarding these events, with the sole exception that you failed your duty to the temple and its relic. Are we understood? Yes, Your Excellencies. Rest assured that whatever misdeed you may have committed, which are related to the expunged matter are too disgraceful. Incidentally, this tilts the scale in your favor. Rest assured that this order was not of our own doing. It came from above. From the jaw of damnation, you have been snatched and are to be given another chance, Prince of Cretan.
Asterion drew a breath. His hands tightened their grip on the podium to compensate for his failing legs.
Yes, Your Excellencies. We proceed now. The narrative of your life is adequately
constructed,
except for the fact regarding your demise. It's been made clear in the preliminary assessment that your accounts very widely. It is true, Asterion of Crete, that you allowed a man of Athenian to take your life. That is correct. Is it true you did not resist? Yes. Was your body stricken by illness? Were you incapable of fighting? No, Your Excellencies. I was healthy and capable. I see.
The judge exchanged whispers, but not for long enough to give the hybrid a moment of respite.
Asterion of Crete.
Yes, of Crete.
You shall provide us with a full account of the events, as well as the reasons for your actions. That is not much to. There's not much to say, Your Excellencies. I was told a redeemer would come to release me from my shackles and wash away my disgrace. You have spoken of my father's misdeeds against Lord Poseidon, and that misfortune they brought. Mine were greater. I feared the god's wrath, and what harmed it would inflict upon my people. A prince's failure can bring great tragedy to his countrymen. And besides, there was no place for me elsewhere. I led an empty life in the Cretan labyrinth. So when my redeemer arrived, I chose to let him take my life. There in the temple, I guarded with the artifact whatever, yes, that... I did not fight.
The judge's eyes narrowed as their brows furrowed. Minos readjusted himself, hunched over his podium.
Asterion of Crete, one gift is, with a lineage such as yours, would under most circumstances receive great favor in our court. The fields of Elysium await one such noble incur. And up to this point, you had given us little reason to think otherwise. However, cowardice is an unforgivable defect. One which, by our customary law, it should be punished with nothing short of sentencing you to the depths of Tartarus. Mortals are destined to sweat and toil until the natural severance of their life threads, as appointed by the fates. We are meant to work and build so that one's to come may benefit, and you and you had much to build still. Thus, your ignoble your ignites. uh
The ignoble knights. That's what. Okay.
Death is thrice cursed. For the disobedience of natural order, the disgrace of your lineage's gift, and your disrespect to future generations. Your failure towards your duty, I should add, by itself would be reason enough to condemn you to Tartarus, regardless of your otherwise dignified attitude in our court. Astarion of Crete, as far as your cause of death is concerned, you have given us no reason to deny you a most terrible sentence on the grounds of cowardice. Yours is a precarious situation.
The ring around the prince's neck flared. He drew a breath, but the fire strangled him.
Before we proceed, however, there was one matter which must be addressed. There was a request regarding you in particular. A hero from Elysium demanded the right to be your orator. In the name of God, this scene is long. In the name of Andragor, familiar to you. Speak now.
It was beyond familiar. His oldest brother's name, tallest among his siblings, who taught him archery and held his hand while they crossed fields of Crocus? Andragos, who lifted and carried him every day until the hybrid's exile to the labyrinth. Precious Andragos, a name he had so dear it got caught in his throat and swelled into a knot, but not before crawling up his sleeve.
He was my brother.
Oh my god, no, I'm ending this part here. I need to get a cup of water. So yeah, we're ending it here. Bye, everyone.